Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Welcome to Faculty of Engineering, University Technology Malaysia Facebook Live. Today we will have we will present to you a forum entitled Towards Cloud Technology, Are We Ready? This is in conjunction with the MOU signing ceremony between UTM, RunCloud, and the launching of the RunCloud University. My name is Muhammad Shahrizal Sunnah from School of Computing, Faculty of Engineering. UTM will be your moderator for this forum today. Right. As we all know that we are now living in the fourth industrial revolution. One of the key technology or pillar in the fourth industrial revolution is cloud technology. Why cloud technology is important? Okay, because almost 90% of our daily tasks in the digital world now must involve or related to the cloud technology. For example, we use communicate with email through cloud, storing our document in cloud. We do shopping online, video call like this, and many more. So today we'll explore more detail about cloud technology. What is the current status? How are we ready? And in terms of talent, infrastructure, and opportunities. And we know that the world now is changed. So I hope that most of you here maybe already know about cloud technology, but for today maybe we can have more information together with our panel, the prominent panels, a member from the main digital technology industry player in Malaysia. Today we will have four prominent panels, from, as I said, from the industry player. Let me introduce to you all the panel. First panel is Dr. Charlene Tiagaraja, the CEO of TM R&D. Welcome to the forum, Dr. Charlene.
Thank you, Prof.
And thank
it's an
you
honor to be here.
Yeah, thank you as well for joining us for today. I will introduce all the panel, as a beginning, and then maybe I will go detail on their biography later. So we'll have a second panel from MDEC. Let me introduce to you Mr. Tan Zimeng.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Tan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Tan is head of Data Cloud Business Unit, Digital Infrastructure Department from Malaysian Digital Economic Corporation, MDEC. So thank you again for your time to join our session today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Our pleasure. So next, we would like to introduce, I think, in Malaysia, one of the prominent figure from Microsoft Malaysia, Dr. Zaharuddin Mansur.
Dr. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you, Dr. Zahar?
Very good, Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, thank you as well for accepting our invitation to become one of the panel today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, Dr. Zahar is the National Technology Officer for Microsoft Malaysia. And the fourth panel for today forum is Mr. Arif Tukiman. How are you, Arif?
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Thank you, Dr. Shah. Alright, and thank you to all the panels. It's been honored to join for this forum today. This morning.
Yeah.
Alright, Doctor.
Thank you, Arif. Basically, as we know that Arif Tukiman is our alumni and also co-founder and the CEO of RunCloud. It's amazing to see how far we have been for now today. Okay, let me read all the panels biography before we start the session. We start with Dr. Charlene Tiagaraja. Dr. Charlene Tiagaraja served as Chief Executive Officer, CEO of TM R&D, a wholly owned subsidiary of TM Group. And she is responsible for bringing new technology and innovation to group with a special focus on the advanced analytic, artificial intelligence, IoT, and digital platform. Dr. Shalin is a UTM alumni graduate with a Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical Engineering with a first class honors from University of Technology Malaysia. And I think during that time, I think in 1995, if I'm not mistaken, when this program is still in Kuala Lumpur, UTM Kuala Lumpur. And then later she pursued her master degree in telecommunication engineering and PhD in computer system engineering at University Putra Malaysia. She has more than 20 years experience in telecommunication industry, climbing up her career in Telecom Malaysia since 1995 as well, from researcher, general manager, vice president, and now she is the CEO of the TM R&D. And next, I would like to give introduction to Mr. Tan Zimeng. Mr. Tan Zimeng, a graduate with the Bachelor of Science Engineering in Computer Engineering from Queen's Mary College, University of London in 1986. And he has been in the ICT industry for more than 30 years. In 1988, he started his career with Telekom Malaysia in IT division, and in 1994, he had a key role in the launch of TMNet in 1996. And in 2000, he left his role of managing TMNet International Network and involved with two startups in data center design, cybersecurity, and Apple enterprise support. And in 2007, he joined MDEC, and today he is head of Data Cloud Business Unit, with his responsibility for the digital infrastructure ecosystem, especially in the digital economy. And our next panel, Dr. Zaharuddin Mansur. Dr. Zahar received his honor degree in computer system engineering from Monash University, Australia in 1985 and completed his PhD in computer science in 1988. He was awarded the MIT Management Sloan School on AI implication on business strategy certificate in 2020, and he has professional certificate in certification in cybersecurity, AI, big data, data science, cloud, and computer architecture. Dr. Zahar is the National Technology Officer, or NTO, for Microsoft Malaysia since 2005 and has more than 36 years of professional experience in technology in the senior leadership, engineering, research, as well as the academic roles. He has been a key contributor in the various national technology roadmap and framework in the area of for the economic transformation, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, IoT, green technology, and others. And he also adjunct professor at the International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM, and a member of industry academic advisory panel in several other universities. So Dr. Zahar is very experienced.
Very old.
with experience. All right. Next, I would like to introduce you Arif Tukiman, the co-founder and the CEO of RunCloud. Since launching in late 2016, the startup currently manages more than 230,000 web applications from over 100 countries around the world, including US, UK, and India. In 2018, RunCloud won the Malaysian League of the Startup World Cup. And Arif himself was listed as one of the Forbes 30 under 30 based on his extraordinary achievement. Arif is also our UTM alumni iconic, graduate from Bachelor of Computer Science, Computer Graphic and Multimedia Software, and Master in IT Entrepreneurship. He established his startup together with other two best partner, Amir and Jebat, here in UTM, in specific in Media and Game Innovation Center of Excellence, MDEC. Right, I think we have a lineup of the distinguished and experienced panel related to our topic today, which is cloud technology and how it's a way to go, how it's impact to our life and so on. All right. As a warm-up question, I think we'll start with Dr. Charlene, for today's forum. Dr. Charlene, as we know, the Telekom Malaysia is the main internet infrastructure provider in Malaysia. Can you give a quick introduction about TM R&D? Because maybe TM R&D is the key or the pillars of the research in Telekom Malaysia, and how does TM R&D benefits from the cloud technology, cloud computing technology industry and the ecosystem?
Good morning, Prof. Thank you for the kind introduction. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to this panel. It is indeed an honor. UTM is my alma mater, so it's great to be back, and it's great to be able to speak in a forum organized by UTM.
Thank you.
So a little bit about TM R&D, if our company name is not already a dead giveaway. We are a wholly owned subsidiary of the TM Group. We were incorporated in 2001, and today we are an independent subsidiary reporting to the group CEO. Our strength is in connectivity and digital services, and we pride ourselves for creating solutions with a global outlook. To your question, Prof, how are we looking at cloud computing research and so on? And I would say a lot, the foundation of our work, both on connectivity and digital services, are built on cloud infrastructure. With cloud, our applications can be deployed and accessed anytime, anywhere, on any device. And I think that is not a secret. And as we move into IoT and 5G technologies, we will see edge computing also taking center stage. And edge computing, as the name suggests, is about bringing a lot of the processing closer to the application or closer to the user. And this also leverages cloud. And this is to improve latency and so on. Something like a distributed brain, if you will, but still on cloud.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Charlene, for the kind introduction of TM R&D, as well as how important cloud computing technology now with the growth and your focus on the maybe fourth industrial revolution. Right. Let's move to Mr. Tan Zimeng for the introduction question for first round. Mr. Tan, can you share with us what is your role in the as a head of cloud business unit in MDEC, and how this relate to MDEC roles or initiative, especially to develop cloud technology, cloud computing talent in Malaysia?
Thank you for the question, Prof. That's a good question. So as you know, MDEC is driving the agenda on the digital economy. And so my team in MDEC, basically under digital infrastructure and services, basically we look to, in terms of the cloud, we have four main roles. One is to develop the cloud industry within Malaysia. We also have a role in attracting foreign cloud players into to invest in Malaysia. So we facilitate the entry. We have a adoption role where we are now working with the government to improve government usage of cloud, and we've had the government actually ratify the cloud first policy this year. And as I think you may have heard the news, government has appointed 4 cloud service providers to be on the panel which is allowed to supply cloud services to the government. So in my team, there's also another role. It is to actually facilitate the adoption of cloud through recommendation of the right kind of policies, and to basically try to get Malaysia to be as attractive as possible for cloud to grow, both from an external looking at Malaysia as well as to have the whole industry in Malaysia to grow. So we have basically, my team looks at identifying gaps in the cloud talent supply as well. We are starting to do that this year, and we are hoping to go full steam on this in the following year, where we are looking to close the talent gap for three major user bases. There is the cloud end users. These are organizations that use the cloud for their business. We also are looking at cloud managed service providers. These are the companies that provide professional services to cloud end users and support their cloud journey. And last but not least, we are looking at growing the cloud software as a service provider business. So these are companies that provide cloud-based applications for customers. So I think that's in a nutshell, that's what we are looking at doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tan. I think you are playing a very important roles in Malaysia as well as in Southeast Asia and Asia to uplift Malaysian in the cloud technology industry as well. Thank you, Mr. Tan. So let's move to Dr. Zaha. This is related to, of course, to Microsoft. Yeah, Dr. Zaha, as we all know, that Microsoft is one of the key player of cloud computing in the world. In 2021, this year, in April, Microsoft announced a plan to establish the first data center in Malaysia as part of Bersama Malaysia initiative to support inclusive of the economic growth. So in relation to this initiative, can you share with us what is the difference? I mean, you can share a bit about Bersama Malaysia as well as later. What is the difference between traditional data center with cloud data center? Yeah.
Prof, thank you very much for the question. So let me give an overview of the Bersama Malaysia initiative. Again, I would like to thank MDEC because they actually are the champions that have attracted Microsoft to invest here in Malaysia, right? So there are three areas of Bersama Malaysia. One is the investment in the establishment of Azure, which is our cloud region in Malaysia. And this is to expand the Azure cloud infrastructure into the country, right? So that's the first point. The second point in Bersama Malaysia is actually to look at skilling up to 1 million Malaysians, for an inclusive digital future, because skills will transform in the next, it's transforming now, right? So we need to actually rapidly skill up and skill across, people as much as possible, as in support of initiatives that Ziming has actually explained. And I think the third area is actually to work with the local ecosystem, how we can bootstrap a digital economy here in Malaysia, for example, working together with government to establish the alliance of digital leadership councils, working with companies like, for example, Silos, which actually supports AI enablement for supply chain, which actually impacts a lot of the economies and many SMEs across across many industries, like manufacturing, oil and gas, and many other things. So we work with the local ecosystem to see how we can actually also accelerate the digital transformation. Now, I'd like to talk a bit about the expansion of the Azure region. You mentioned about data centers, but it's not just another data center here in Malaysia. I think it's an expansion of the cloud into the country so that Malaysian customers have a choice, right? They can actually run their applications or consume services from within Malaysia for a couple of reasons. And before I go into those reasons, I think we need to have a level setting on what we term as cloud. Okay, it's not hosting. It's not just virtualization, right? It's not just internet connected computing, right? If you look at ISO 17788, and this is aligns with the CGSO guidelines for cloud in the cloud first policy, I think the ones which are really different from a traditional, I guess, data center or infrastructure is it's on-demand self-service. Essentially, you can go to a portal and say, I want 100 servers, and you fire up 100 servers, and the next hour you shut it down and pay 20 ringgit, right? You can't do that in a traditional hosting environment, by the way. You need to actually, have 6 months, 1 year contract, and so on. The second area is actually self-service scalability. I can start with, if the traffic is low, I can start with 5 servers, and then suddenly I see a peak because I got 2 million users, and at one time I can actually expand it to 500 servers, 500 calls, right? To service the peak, for example, and then I shut it down again, and again pay maybe 400, 500 ringgit, right? And finally, it's measured service, which means that I can deploy in a pay-per-use perspective. It changes the whole, economics, the whole business model for delivering very cheap computing service. And that is why you see companies like Grab, right? They don't have to buy infrastructure, right? They just use the cloud because of economies of scale, whereby if you're at a hyperscale cloud environment where you have more than 100,000 servers, yeah, in fact, we have millions, yeah, the total cost of ownership per server is reduced by 10 times, essentially, right? And that's why the more digital companies, they don't even look at building their own infrastructure, right? And this is because of the global scale that you have. That's why when we talk about expanding to Malaysia, it's not just a data center in Malaysia, by expanding that global economies of scale into Malaysia, so that you have a choice. For example, why do you need local infrastructure? One is, latency, right? If you had a data center somewhere else in another country, the latency actually makes a lot of difference. You had Dr. Charlene talked about, the edge, right? So if you have you need like low latency, the closer the data center it is to the edge, the faster the response times will be. So there are a lot of like AI application on the edge, for example, requires that kind. And the other one is application. You've got huge amounts of data between the edge and the cloud infrastructure, right? So the Azure region will cover 3 data centers, 3 big data centers, right? So that you get the redundancy. Even one big data center falls, you still have 2 data centers, right?
Nice.
And it will be hosting all the 1,000 services that that Azure provides. And this is within the next 24 months. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zah. That shows how important actually the data center and the Microsoft roles to grow Malaysian economy as well in the digital economy. And I think, that we have here in our panel is a great lineup of the infrastructure, the system, the regulator. And now we go to Mr. Arif, related to how your company, how you play the company RunCloud play roles in the cloud technology. Okay, Arif, as we know that cloud computing now, as I mentioned before, is becoming increasingly crucial in our daily life, and more business are using cloud as a solution. And then there is a lot of also startup company related to digital services, digital solution. So how do you see RunCloud? How you position RunCloud in the cloud computing industry segment? Arif. Arif, if you can unmute.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shah, and all the panels. Basically, I get a very good insightful from the Dr. Zah about how the Microsoft the data center is not only for the data center, is basically the ecosystem on how to help the business. So to talk more about RunCloud and how RunCloud helps the cloud computing industries. All right. So RunCloud we started in 2017. We established the company in 2017. Before we started RunCloud, we are basically a software house company. We develop systems, we develop application for clients, private and government sectors. So when we talk about develop system, we need to talk about when and how to deploy the system on the servers. When we talk the servers right now, the trend is all about cloud. All right. So this is the where we develop our own automation script, our own simple panel, just to solve our own needs, our own problem, which is we hardly to let's say we get the 5 projects, system projects. So we need to deploy at the different environments. 5 project, 5 system. Let's say one client they wanted to deploy on Azure. One client they plan to deploy on Google Cloud. One maybe dedicated their own on-premise server. So when it comes to multiple deployments, multiple server management, as a business owner, as a developers, you will find the difficulties you're facing a lot of problems in terms of performance, in terms of inconsistency, security management, even the long-term maintenance for the server. So we did an automation script, and then this is one day, this is one event, a community event called Jom Lounge, held in TM Convention Center actually. I'm not mistaken, but it was in 2016, late 2016. I'm very surprised where our simple solutions being appreciated by the communities, by the developers, by the startups. They found out, hey, I use this cloud and I don't know how to configure the cloud. All right. So I'm not a system admin by the background. I'm a system developer. How I can deploy my own cloud service, I can configure and I can deploy my own system by my own. So this is where RunCloud was started as a cloud server management panel and zero downtime deployments to assist developers, to assist businesses, startups, even enterprise. Even I today, basically last month, I just realized that MDEC is our client. So MDEC is our client. So meaning that RunCloud is the solution for the businesses, startups, anyone to emphasize the cloud computing environment. Is if let's say when we talk about cloud, we already understand that the flexibility, the security, the easy to scale, auto scale, self scale, the self service to expand the servers. So when we talk about cloud, also startups can penetrate the global market from day one. Let's say you have the SaaS business, you have a product, at least you have the good e-commerce, and you wanted to target your product into the US market. You cannot deploy your system on the Malaysian data center, maybe in Cybergen. No, cannot. The latency is not so responsive. It's lagging, right? So you need to find the data center that closest to your audience. So this is where RunCloud come into the market. We are not competing. We are not infrastructure. We are not infra as a service. We are actually complement. We help the businesses. If you use Azure, you need to deploy. If you want to seamless experience in managing your cloud service, using RunCloud. If you have multiple cloud brands in your ecosystem, because RunCloud, you can manage multiple cloud providers in one single activity dashboard. So if you do the manual configurations, maybe took 1 hour. If you are good at system admin, if you are beginners, just about to enter the cloud environment, maybe it took a week just to learn from the YouTube videos from other person. By connected with RunCloud, we will make sure in just within 15 minutes, your deployment, your environment, your configurations, all can be done smoothly. And even any notifications when your server pick up, all right, when you have a disk storage RAM, RAM, maybe your RAM or CPU usage is high, so our system will automatically send into maybe your Slack channel, your email notification and all. So I would say when we talk about our today's topic, which is towards cloud technology, are we ready? So we need to talk about our local talents readiness. So this is where I think we take our own initiative, all right, on how computing. We need to give this awareness because the industry is hardly not into the traditional hosting. There's no traditional hosting right now. There's always the cloud computing. We're not talking about if you want to have a server, okay, the checklist is you need the server room. You have the very good accounts. You have a good electricity. You have a good internet connections. So then no, you just go to the website, Azure website, subscribe to any cloud spec that you want. Then you have your own server. So this is where I think system developers, students, when they enter to the industry, they need to have at least about the fundamental of cloud computing. Because I am one of the panel of the final year project for the students, even for UTM master students, polytechnics, and a few other colleges. So from my own survey, all right, I already been invited to have to give a sharing about my journey and the cloud computing and so on. So when I asked to the student, I asked 8 out of 10 students hardly not understand about cloud computing. When I said about cloud, they only know about iCloud, Google Drive, Dropbox. Is basically the cloud storage. All right, even the computer science student. So this is where I think the importance about the cloud computing technology need to be started from the groundwork from the university student. All right. So
Alright.
thank you.
Correct, Arif. So I think this show how vast or big your business or your solution is a timely, as well as I mean everyone now is I mean the user of cloud technology, and we need to have more talent to not only use the technology, but they need to develop something. Yeah, correct. It is about 80% of our computer science student actually, or IT student, doesn't have experience deploying their project to the cloud technology, because there is a lot of reason. Because one, maybe the syllabus. Second, maybe the infrastructure provided by a university, the collaboration between the cloud data center and the university itself maybe is not yet there. And I think today we will create the history, so called, so that we can start, at least for the student. They actually we have already test our student is very lucky. For the last semester, they already test deploying using RunCloud to deploy their project, not on the local host only, but they are already deploying in the cloud, UpCloud, Azure, and so on. All right. So for those who are just watch our session, we are now in the forum discuss about towards cloud technology. Are we ready? So we are now go to the second round of the forum, and we back to Dr. Shalin from CEO of TM R&D. So now we are talking more about how the cloud technology can be, I mean, useful, especially for the academician, for the students, for the researcher. Yeah. So I think as Dr. Shalin mentioned, TM R&D is the main pillars of the R&D in telecom. So if you can share, or maybe you can have what is the prospect of cloud technology in the research and development industry, focus on research, and can you share on the any innovation by TM R&D that applying cloud technology, and how the skill needed to arrive to that innovation, to develop that innovation in regards of the product that you mentioned after this in R&D from TM R&D. Dr. Shadi.
Sure, Prof. Basically, everything we have built at R&D is built on cloud. And I'll give you an example. EWAR. EWAR stands for Early Warning Alerts and Response System. This is something that we built at the beginning of the pandemic. It's TM's contribution towards the fight against COVID-19. It's a thermal camera solution that is totally non-intrusive, and it was built on cloud. When we built this, we launched EWAR in April last year, right at the beginning of the pandemic. And one of our first deployment was in the low-risk quarantine station in Maibs, Serdang. And this was built together with 5G. So I believe, or I dare say, it is the first 5G enabled thermal camera solution against COVID-19. So when we built this solution, the goal was to build a solution that was robust. And this was to detect high temperature in the most non-intrusive way. So there is no one holding a thermometer gun or a thermal gun to your forehead. So you really reduce the need for having a person, right? Which is, human capital is really expensive. So we wanted something non-intrusive. We wanted something highly accurate as well. And we achieved that with plus minus 0.3 degrees accuracy, and we wanted something that was relevant post-pandemic. So long story short, we built it on cloud, of course. And so when a person is detected with high temperature, for example, an alert is automatically sent to a mobile application to a security guard or a ground crew to be able to locate them and take them away. So there's no silent blaring sound, big sirens and all that. So truly non-intrusive. So I give you an example where this is very applicable, where, for example, if EWO was installed in every building entrance in UTM, for example, and this means that the UTM management team will get information about the moving and the ongoings of your students, coming in and out of campus. Let's say, and this is very important insights, for building operators, campus operators, to understand how many people are coming into my office, for example, how many people are at block A, how many people with high temperature, and so on. So when we kicked this off, it was very important for big companies with many buildings, TM for one, with all our TM points and so on, to understand the movement of people, and how many people, what time did they come in, were they happy? We can even do facial recognition and so on. So with cloud, information gets stored globally. Global information gets stored and can be consolidated for effective analysis and planning. If I may, Prof, I'd just like to add a little bit. I think not just only building on cloud is important, but also building on the right platform, digital platforms. And this is something that we have done. I think Dr. Azhar spoke about building things faster and so on. So cloud is one layer of the infrastructure. The other layer would be on your local digital platform, like something that we have built in-house, or which is, we call it an open platform. We call it Open Innovation Platform, OIP, also built on cloud. So it's like a data brokerage, API manager, containerized infrastructure that allows us to build software 30% faster. And of course 30 to 40% cheaper, as Dr. Azhar spoke about, and OIP today serves as a core component in TM's digital stack, internal digital stack, running more than 50 million API calls to date. So in a nutshell, Prof, you spoke also about, there were many questions that you had. I'll just touch very quickly on you asked about skill sets and so on. For sure, we look at things, and I think Arif spoke about it very, very nicely. When you're tackling a customer problem, really it is to understand your user requirements. It's not really about the technology per se. It's like, how do you leverage technology to solve your problems? And for us, we run a gamut of things, both for internal TM and also for enterprises that are embarking on digital solutions and so on. So what we look at is really marrying the domain expertise and the digital expertise, because just having a digital expert will not kind of give you that 360 ability to solve a problem. And I'll give you an example. We recently launched, or early last year, we launched a solution for TM, and it is an intelligent support system to do prediction on your broadband, cable health, and so on, service level health, and so on. And prediction is a very important quality now people look at. No more do we want to look at proactive or reactive kind of troubleshooting. We want to know, before it happens, so we can solve it. And to do that, we needed talents from both fiber and copper, capabilities, people who understand characteristics of when is there a fault by listening to certain heat map or heat waves, we call it, on copper characteristics and so on. And we needed data scientists for AI and machine learning algorithms. We needed front-end and back-end developers, mobile developers, and so on. And also, of course, the TM, network operations team, to guide us on types of source systems that is required and how do you tap on it and how do you consolidate information. And that's where the open innovation platform comes in, because once you have information, it needs to also sit on the right open infrastructure, so you can talk to one another, or else they'll all be sitting in silos, and you can't really tap the value of data. And yes, and processes, and all of this is very relevant. So I think building end-to-end digital solutions, especially supporting digital transformation for any organization, will require multidisciplinary skill sets. Correct. And I don't think there's going to be one size that fits all. Correct. Over to you, Prof.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Shalin. I think this is in the collaboration mode in this world now. We cannot work alone, and I think a lot of skill set is needed, not only on the technology or technical, but also the subject matter expert to complete or to comply the ecosystem, the content, the technology expert. They need to be balanced, and also we in UTM actually, as a computer science or school of computing, we also encourage students not only focus on the technology but also need to collaborate, with other subject matter expert to give a solution to complete the ecosystem and so on. All right, this I think leads to the second question for Mr. Tan, related to the skill set as well for the cloud computing. So I think as the custodian of the Malaysian digital economy, especially on the cloud technology, what are the career opportunities for the cloud computing field in Malaysia, as we know? But I think maybe you can provide together with some trend, that you know from MDEC point of view. And do you agree that educational institute or institution should provide enough opportunity and knowledge to the student to learn about cloud computing skills, as we discussed, not only on the technology itself, but also on how to leverage on the cloud technology available and provided by the players?
Thank you, Prof. That's a good question. Actually, the careers in cloud today, I think there's no bigger opportunity than right now. As Malaysia is now moving very aggressively into the cloud, right? Especially with the government driving it through cloud first policy, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. Let me just take you through a few things. Number one is the opportunities at end user organizations. Like, even companies like MDEC, we use the cloud, and we need people who are skilled in managing the cloud, how to set it up, how to run it, how to manage it, and even things like financially managing the cloud. Because cloud is like electricity. When you leave the switch on, your bill is running. So you need people who know how to manage the cloud, because we hear so many stories of people going to the cloud and saying, oh, the cost suddenly went through the roof. That's because they didn't know how to manage the cost of the cloud. So that's a very important thing. And I think even if you're an accountant doing finance studies, I think you need to understand how the cloud works, so that you will be able to understand your IT people who are deploying cloud, and so that you're not surprised by how they come to you and ask for budgets, for cloud deployment. So finance people need to understand cloud, that's for sure. Otherwise, you will not be able to manage the financing of the cloud. So end users, again, the same thing. If you develop in-house applications, you need how to develop on the cloud. And I would say you need to be able to develop on multiple cloud platforms. I think multi-cloud is a reality here. Even MDEC, we are using 3 cloud platforms, and we may be adding a 4th. Because each cloud platform has strengths to bring into a business solution. So when you have the skills to use all 4 cloud platforms that are available to the government right now, then you'll be able to come up with the best possible solution that you can build. Okay. Next tier down will be the service providers, and I'm not talking about cloud service providers, not yet. That's next. I'm talking about managed service providers. These are companies that support their customers in terms of cloud deployment, right? So same thing in MDEC, we have a managed service provider that handles the cloud for us, because we don't have a big enough IT team, so we need to have to outsource some of the skill sets that are required to a third-party provider. Now, I think, Arif, you mentioned that MDEC is a user of your RunCloud. The reason is because we are multi-cloud, and we couldn't get a managed service provider who could handle all 3 clouds at the same time. So we needed a tool to help us do that, and that's where RunCloud came in. So thank you very much for that. And the thing is, the reality is, people still need to be able to rely on a vendor that can support them in areas that they are not capable of. So this is where the managed service provider has a key role to be able to support their customers. Then last but not least, actually not last, third is the cloud service providers. Now, as you know, as Dr. Zaha mentioned, Microsoft is building the cloud platform. I'm sure there will be career opportunities when Microsoft starts the cloud region in Malaysia. So imagine that you want to work in Microsoft's data center. This is it. This is your chance. I think 2 years, right? You'll be up and running. So I guess if you are a student right now in your first, second, third year, I think you have that opportunity coming soon. And of course, I think for me, if I were that age again, I would be very excited, because come on, you don't get many chances to work in a global scale cloud platform, without having to travel overseas and move overseas to work in another country. You get it right here in your home country. Then last but not least, I think I mentioned it before, software as a service. Now, my belief is that this is where the biggest opportunity lies for Malaysians, deploying software on a cloud platform. Now, if you are a software developer in the past and you need to manage and operate your own data center, and I think that those days are gone. Why, as a software developer, and running the data center is not your core business. Your core business is developing applications for your end users and customers. So if you can leave the hardware and infrastructure to the cloud service provider and focus on your core business of developing applications, and not have to worry about, the UPS broke down last night, or the air condition stopped working last night. But all you need to focus on is what does your customer want and how to deliver that software application to them in the most efficient, cost-effective manner. So software as a service, please, if you are you're a software developer, look into software development on the cloud. And again, be multi-cloud capable. Don't focus on a single platform. You need to know all of them, right? I think so. Like I said, I'm towards the end of my career already. I've done my 30 plus years. But if you are young and coming into the market soon, the opportunity is huge. So, right, and there's so much resources on the internet for you to learn about all these things. So I think that's all I want to say about this, Prof. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Mr. Tan. I think, wow, this is very informative, especially for the young, for the student. Yeah, especially they can also, think about their future. There's a lot of potential in the cloud technology ecosystem. Not only become programmer, but also become the solution provider, especially as what you just mentioned about software as a service. There's a huge potential to promote their service or their software to the world. Yeah, is now the business is not only local in their area, but also they can think about how to sell it directly to the customer at the other part of the globe. Yeah, and also I do agree that if we didn't have enough skills or knowledge about cloud, we are worried to subscribe our credit card, because the cost might go to the ceiling of your credit limit. But I think don't worry, this is how we in university we like to. There's two things. Basically, we offer a student professional courses embedded into the subject, the course, and also we are also offering professional courses related to using the cloud technology, deploying the cloud technology, as well as developing the software related to the cloud technology. All right, this leads to the next question to Dr. Zaha. When we talk about so many people can also, relate or using or develop a system solution on the cloud technology, so-called as democratization of the technology. And I think, how do you see this is happening in terms of cloud computing, and how do you see this cloud adoption trend in Malaysia, especially pre and post pandemic? Because previously, I think maybe not many of our citizens familiar with like QR code, scan there, scan here. Yeah. So I think at least that level, or maybe higher level on the development, and how do you see this? The drastic changes take long to the future of our digital revolution, especially in Malaysia. Dr. Zaha. Sorry, Dr. Zaha, if you can unmute.
Sorry. Again, thank you for the question, and sorry about the mic. I also make that mistake all the time. I think when we think about this digital era, right, sometimes we focus too much on the technology piece, right? And to me, as someone probably the oldest in this group, yeah, I can guarantee you that actually the technology, the fundamental technology has not changed a lot, right? I mean, there's no new, real different computer architecture, for example, the same computer architecture. AI has been around since 1950s and so on and so forth, right?
Correct.
But what is really driving this transformation is democratization of technologies, right? Think about the computer which brought Apollo 11 to the moon. You know, that cost billions, and only a rocket scientist can use it. Today, a 2-year-old can use a computer 3 times more powerful than that Apollo 11 computer. It's democratization of technology. And I like this question very much because we have to realize that, because most of us here are technologies, right? It's not about technology, it's about the economics of technology, right? And what the business impact that the technology has. Now, I mentioned just now that when we talk about cloud, especially the hyperscale cloud, it's about the democratization on that fundamental layer of computing and storage, right? And that started maybe 15, 20 years led by Amazon, essentially, right? And as a result of that, you see the growth of data, right? From the mobile and the social, right? Which is human generated data. And now with Internet of Things, where sensors and actuators are connected to the internet, to this cheap computing infrastructure, you see the data growing to about 44 zettabytes this year, and 1 zettabyte is 10 to the power of 21. And it's going to grow to 135 zettabytes by 2035, which is just about 3 years away. Yeah. All right. So with this huge amounts of data, cheap computing power, then you see the breakthroughs in AI happening. So you see the democratization of technology is building one upon another, and this combination of mashup of these technologies create a democratized platform which enables companies like the Grabs of the world, the Netflix of the world, and maybe soon even the RunClouds of the world, for example, right? Enabling them to really disrupt markets, in a very short period of time. And you do not need to be a big company to be successful, because most of these digital companies these days did not exist before 1995, right? Only like Microsoft, Apple, these are the old guys, right? Which kind of survives. But most of the other digital companies are actually quite very new companies, right? And that is the opportunities that, companies in Malaysia, you don't need to, a startup can grow to a $40 billion company in just about 5 years, just like Uber, for example, right? Microsoft took 15 years to just become a $1 billion company. And this is the disruption which is happening today. But you have to think at a platform level, at ecosystem level, right? In terms of driving your business. And I said, it's about how you can change the mindset, right? Leveraging on digital platforms to create a digital platform business, right? And that creates that disruptive nature. And I think all organizations, all companies, including universities, by the way, yeah, has got to change their mindset to be
Exactly.
relevant and succeed in this new world. So whilst I think it's an exciting times, especially with the younger generation, for people old like me, yeah, slow sikit nak faham, problem, right? So I think this is where we need to kind of work, right, together, combine experiences, look at the trends. And when we talk about, for example, just now education about the, how whether or not cloud computing will create opportunities. Now, my response to that is, if you're not actually embracing cloud computing, you'll be out of a job because everything will move to the cloud, right? Every cloud is actually the way the market is going. It's not Microsoft or not the technology companies. The market is actually moving to the cloud. It's like dulu kita naik kereta lembu kan, sekarang kita naik kereta, right? We're not moving. Kita naik kereta lembu je. No, we have to. It's a change of mindset, right? And that change.
Sekarang kita naik drone.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, very interesting, Dr. Zahar. Yeah, I think democratization of technology. Everyone now can hold the handphone, even you are baby just born. They have their Instagram account, and I think, and also like today we have opportunity to get together with the video call. I think 10 years ago, this is very difficult to happen, yeah, and this is only happen for a specific location with a specific high level infrastructure like Microsoft. I think you communicate with your boss in America, in all over the world. I think this is not new technology, but for the normal people, citizen, I think using this kind of like technology, for example, video call, just about video call itself is already shows how we can leverage the technology. At least now, because of the pandemic, the economy can even still can grow with the cloud technology. I think we should also thanks to the technology, and also, as mentioned by Dr. Zahar, for the university to the academic or academic provider or education provider. I think you cannot run away, with this technology, since I think there's no option actually.
Yes.
There's no alternative for the cloud technology in the future, unless somebody else come up with a very different technology that can disrupt this cloud technology. But I think as for now, the technology is exponentially grows with in line with the infrastructure, with the growth of the chipset, with the growth of internet speed, and so on. All right. So talking about what we call it, democratization, people can use, and also back to Mr. Arif, related to how our student can prepare themselves, not only from computer science aspect or IT aspect, but also other courses, fields like architecture, sports, engineering. They also need to at least know how the technology works and how they can use their expertise, collaborate with a computer science student or others. What is your advice, especially to our student, on how to choose their career path, or maybe to come up with a startup like yourself, using the cloud computing technologies, infrastructure, opportunity, and what they should prepare during this study? And maybe you can advise also about what is the general, as mentioned by previous panel, but maybe you have your own, advice on the general skill required for today's student,
Okay.
especially for computer science. Arif?
Okay, Dr. Shah, thank you for the questions. And I think back to from the Mr. Tan point, where by having cloud, business focus on develop the business. Developers focus on develop the product, or even develop the solutions. It's not the core the day-to-day job is to handle the servers, all right? Because it's already taken care of by the infrastructure as a service, which is like Microsoft, Google Cloud, and others, all right? So when we talk about that, then we realize that the demands on using that is over 100, 200, I guess, from my own study, which is over 300 billions on the public cloud spending all over the world. This means that the opportunity for students, for the new talents to jump in by having a cloud computing expertise is, I think it's the right time. All right. And even today, we are not talking about the computer science. We are talking about the industry that utilize the cloud computing technologies. So the industry is maybe not only for the IT companies, but it's the multi-segment industries that are utilizing it. All right. Even the agriculture, petani, nampak macam petani, tapi they are utilizing right now is agri-tech and fintech and the insurtech, any other techs, all right? And there are multi segments. All the tech segment from the traditional industry are going to tech segment. They need to emphasize the enhance the power of cloud computing. So by having said that, let's say agriculture, all right, they open up the agri-tech, they try to enable from the farmer until to the top level, to the end user, how to connect them. To connect them, they need to have a system, a platform, a marketplace, e-commerce, a market sellers, something like that. All right. So who are going to develop that? Right. To develop that is, of course, the developers, the engineers, the IT techs. Then they need more talent on how to develop system. When we talk right now, when we talk about the system, a system developer or software developer, it's not only they need to understand on how to do the system. Now, for me, at least, it's a must for them to understand on how to maintain, to manage, to deploy the system on the cloud. If they only know how to develop a system and they don't know how to maintain the system on the cloud, for me, is something lacking from the knowledge, right? Because right now we are not talking about only the system, because cloud computing is a must skill set that what I see right now as a computer science student, engineering student, and for me, it's for everyone right now. All right, because we need to give at least some awareness where cloud computing is not the cloud storage. So this is where I see most of the time. All right, at least for computer science student, this is the knowledge where maybe some of the syllabus not covered, but there's a lot of free resources. Even right now, we can see even 12 years old kids is being a CEO in India. And even one of the youngest ambassador in RunCloud is 15 years old that developed a system like kind of a speed test.net that can test a speed test on the server. So this is like the gems. For me, we need to create more and more talent from the not from maybe from the university, maybe from the earliest, from the school. Okay. When I see about when we talk about what advice that I can give, I think first of all, I think it needs to start from the teachers, maybe from the parents that can give, not the parent, but parents just give the support. But at least if we talk about the university levels, colleges level, the lecturers need to adapt first about the cloud computing. Then from the lecturers giving out the awareness to the students, and the students know, oh, okay, this is the Microsoft Azure. Now I just know about the Microsoft Azure is actually a cloud computing that I can deploy my assignment, my system, my final year project on Azure. Because right now, when lecturer asked me to demo my project, I need to bring my own laptop. And I showcase to the lecturer that this is the system, this is how it's work. Because there's the local host, we need to talk about on how to create the portfolio of the students' portfolio from day one. Can you imagine? Now RunCloud is expanding right now. We basically we started in 2017 from 100 connected servers. Now we have managing over 50,000 connected servers that over almost 500,000 deployed domains across 100 plus countries. So our active users are coming from the US and UK. So meaning that I want to give the opportunity for the student, for the local students, that you can work with the local company that serve the global audience, which is the under cloud computing segment. That's why I think by creating more and more talents toward the cloud computing technology, will help RunCloud and will help the same industry as RunCloud and other industries that need to have the cloud computing expertise. Having said that, before we start the forum, I just make a quick study. The median salary base for the cloud computing, expertise, the yearly salary is 140,000 US dollars per year. Can you imagine if maybe we slash by per month, it's more than 10,000 US dollar per month salary if you have the cloud computing expertise. It's even more. It's even better than CEO salaries. Most of the CEO salaries in Malaysia. So that's why I want to give the advice where start to learn about cloud computing, because right now the remote kind of work environment is getting a new norm. So let's say a lot of, we are not talking about the need from the Malaysian kind of economic. We talk about the global economic that wanted this kind of expertise. All right. So even Azure, maybe from the HQ in the US, maybe need the cloud architect, the account manager about the cloud computing that can hire the talent from Malaysia. So this is where I think we need to try to develop more and more. That's why I think in conjunction for this event, the MOU with the UTM, I really want that by having a close relationship with the UTM, we can create more good talents toward the cloud computing. All right, that's why we try to plan to have the a professional certificate for students from the beginners to advanced as a cloud practitioner, to become the good in cloud architect, good system developers with know-how to deploy the system to the cloud. So this is where I think to match what are the needs from the industries and from the academic sectors, they can produce a talent that meet the criteria of the current trends. So I think start to develop. My advice is only one: start to develop your portfolios from the universities. Put your assignments, put your final year projects on the cloud. Because if you go to interview, you get the first filter. Because let's say you have, I received 10, 10 application from the students. 9 out of 10, they attach the PDF or zip file for the project. Only one give the domain, oh, this is my project. You can see all the system live for this domain. They say ariftikiman.com, right? As example. So this is where I think I want to give you the advice. Try to develop your portfolios from day one to outstand from the others. Thank you, Doctor.
All right, thank you. Very insightful advice to our student for especially moving forward, for them to prepare not only in the university level but also since the beginning in their, study in the school. All right. So for those who have a question, our audience out there from our FB Live and YouTube Live, you are welcome to give any, if you have question or give suggestion, comment related to our discussion today. And I would like to remind you that today is a forum related to towards, the title is Towards Cloud Technology, Are We Ready? Is in conjunction with our initiative in UTM for MOU between UTM and RunCloud, as well as the launching of RunCloud University. And this is in line with our Envision 2025 in UTM to give good ecosystem of students to study state-of-the-art technology, and basically, and also for this initiative is not only for UTM, but also open to other university in Malaysia as well, for the RunCloud University. But we are very proud that we have our alumni company, RunCloud, choose UTM, their alma mater, to launch their initiative.
First university.
Yeah, the first university
Maybe
using
I'm biased. I'm alumni of UTM.
Yeah.
Because I received a few other universities as well. They have formed a new diploma for cloud computing and so on. So they wanted to have the close partnership and so on. So I think maybe I'm biased that I'm alumni of UTM. So I try to give this one.
Yeah, this is not called bias. This is called
Not biased.
the ecosystem, because this is by design. Actually, we develop, the talent and come up like you, and then to giving back to the student, and then we want more to develop more talent on the startup related to the technology, cloud technology, so that they can also give, so that we can have research, we can have the commercialization, we can have economic growth to contribute to Malaysia as well, to the world. All right. So now we go to the third round of our forum, which is if our technical team can highlight any question that I think few questions there in our Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live. All right, one question. The first question from Alia, related. Okay, the question is: can you share a little bit your opinion on how the lack of skilled digital talent is impact the industry? All right. Okay. I open to any panels to pick up this question. Any of you can just directly pick up
I
this.
open to the seniors first.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Zahra.
So let me step back a bit. I think there has been a lot of kind of interest and actually hype. If you hear anything today, is fourth industrial revolution, digital, and so on and so forth, right?
Malaysia 4.0.
Yeah, 5.0 pun ada. 5.0, okay.
I don't know what is the 1.0.
5.0, okay. Now I think for all of us, right, we have to first of step back a bit and understand apa benda ni digital ni, right? What does it mean? Okay, what does it mean? And I think this is where I feel that, again, could be my opinion. We are only at hype level kita faham. We do not know how to translate that into real, impactful, at the end of the day, economic activity. And that's where I think that's why when we talk about digital, we talk about IoT aja, ataupun we talk about cloud aja. No, it's combination, right? It's this combination of a mashup of technologies that you use, but not only that, the way you run a business, a digital business, and a digital organization is actually very transformative in nature. You look at the whole system. It's not just about customers and your the company and your customers, but how you are aggregating the whole ecosystem, right? So the mindset of how you look at business has changed, and this is the ones. And when you go to business, you need to figure out where you are. Are you at the transactional layer, or are you at the great aggregation layer, or are you at the infrastructure layer? All right. And how do you then leverage on digital platforms to make it into this digital cycle, right? So the challenge that we have today, we do not have a lot of real digital companies. And that is why kadang-kadang kita kata digital, so nak buat apa ni ya? Right? So I think the whole nation we really have to look at. So for example, if you look at the latest Swiss credit report, Indonesia dah ada about 15 unicorns, right? I think the largest is actually Singapore, then second is 50. I think betul tak Zimeng? I think Malaysia's got only 3, right? So we are really behind, despite the fact that we have a lot of investment. So I think the point is this: the point is the whole That is why when we talk about skilling, we talk about a million, because we have to create this whole ecosystem and what digital is, not only from a technology perspective, but also how you drive a digital platform business, right? And this is actually something which is, I think, we have to build, right? Universities can play an important role, but they also need to transform, right? Because I think if I look, I'm part of the MQA Majelis Jawatan Kuasa Akreditasi, yeah? And when I look at the curriculums today, I think we're still teaching the kind of I think fundamental is fine, but when you apply it, I think you're using the old technologies, right? You have to change the mindset, okay, yeah, from the leadership, especially because the kids are already. I'm not worried about the kids. The younger generation, like people like Chale, for example, right? Maybe Dr. Shalin, for example, they are fine. But people like me and Ziming, kita mental blocks again. And that sometimes the blockers to this, and we need to change our mindset, enable the next generation to really drive this digital economy. Thank you.
Correct. Thank you.
If,
Yeah.
if I may just, jump in as well. I love how Dr. Azhar, he teed it off very well about, a lot of hype, and then suddenly we don't have enough digital talents, and we see this all the time, and for us, we actively upskill our talents. I think you can never have enough of anything, especially when it's hype, right? Because just like how Dr. Azhar, Arif, and Aziming spoke about, digital skills will soon be like Excel and PowerPoint skills. Everybody will need to have it. It's just at what level and what degree you would, competency, because you have a different skills when you're actually building algorithms, different skills when you're applying it, different skills when you're, being an IT operations manager in a company, leveraging technology and so on. But no matter which department you're in moving forward, be it HR, finance, or engineering, you are bound to need these digital skills at different levels and degrees. And the unique thing about, and I think maybe Dr. Azhar and Zimin can talk about, even Arif, is that no matter how much skills, and I'm talking about TMR&D, no matter how much digital skills we bring in or we develop, it is never enough, because the more you have, the more you can do. And this is where then you can create more and more projects, and your customers will say, hey, now I want to do this and that. I want to connect the dots here and there. And then, you're back to square one, not enough skills. And when actually it's really the demand, because we're all going into this whole digital transformation agenda. COVID-19 definitely, accelerated the push. Companies who never had an e-commerce platform now says, hey, that's the only way to sell, and I can now go global in instantaneously. So I think it's not about the resources. We'll never have enough of it, because the demand is there, and everything that we do now is predicated on digital. But I think it's a good problem to have. And this is where I look at Prof. Shahrizal, and I say I'm looking forward for UTM to bring in more and more talents to Malaysia, because I think one key point is that we need to start creating, and that is, we're all talking about building Malaysia as a more sustainable and economic power, and the only way to do this is to create. And that's why you need people like Arif, who can create new things, people who, like Microsoft, obviously, people like in R&D, TM R&D, who I believe will transform Malaysia, not just to be a nation of consumers. We need to be a nation of producers.
Yes.
Okay, we're back to you.
Something
Mr. Tan first.
Okay, Mr. Tan, please.
Okay. Now, just to follow on from Dr. Shalin, basically, if you look at it, a lot of young people today, they know how to use the technology. They are almost born with a phone in their hand. But I think what needs to happen is, all of you young people that are listening out there, get curious about how that thing works.
Correct.
Right? How does this technology you're using and enjoying in your hand works? understand how this whole thing is actually a part of a global interconnected network where servers sit on the other side of the world and you're connecting to your friends anywhere in the world. And how does this work? It's so exciting, this technology. So if you can get excited about figuring out how things work, I think you're on the right track. Over to you, Arif.
Yeah, Arif, please, if you want.
Okay. Dr. Shah, I just want to add one minute lah, all right, to follow on the answer from Dr. Shalin, Mr. Tan, and
Sure.
Dr. Zahar. So I strongly agree with Mr. Tan, which is now is the digital era, and everyone already know how to use it. Right? Even the new baby born already have the Instagram account. So meaning that how fast the digital from the new baby born have the Instagram account. So
dalam perut dah ada.
So I just want to add where knowledge, we cannot say that knowledge is enough. Knowledge is adapt. We keep adapting through the eras. When we talk about 90s, kamera. Bila kita cakap pasal kamera, 90s we always remember Fujifilm and Kodak. Who are they now? Because they are not paced towards the technologies and they are still being at the comfort zone. So now Kodak is, for me, is nowhere. Everyone talks about the mobile phones and the digital cameras on the phone. Even a lot of professional cameras like Sony, and they are afraid with the new technology from the iPhones. All right. So this is where I think we need to when we talk about digital, I definitely strongly agree that new generation needs to have the digital savvy. If you are not technical, at least you are know how to use the technology in the professional way. Okay, right? So I think the awareness need to be taken, because if you don't have this kind of digitalization set of tool that you can use, you will be at a different league. Because when we talk pandemic, online learning from home, right? PDPR, Zoom, Google Meet. So this is, I think, it's the right time to try to catch if you think that you are lack in digital knowledge. All right. That's right.
Correct. Thank you all the panels. I think this one question everyone is very anxious to answer, because it's very related and very touch your soul as well. And this is as what Dr. Zahar mentioned as well, in the fundamental of this technology is still same. Yeah, it's an input, process, and output. That's a standard digital technology things. And then the only difference is the growth of the technology, the device that we use, the infrastructure that we have, the content, and democratization of the technology. Yeah, that's the best word maybe we can use. And also, if we I think we can only manage to have another one question, since we are very lack of time, because I think this very active discussion for today. Can we see one last question for our session today for our backend team? Okay, this is a question from Akmal Hisham. Theory versus hands-on skill on the cloud computing. Which one is the most important? All right. So
Quick one, hands-on, definitely.
Right.
Okay, for me, I think it's both, right? You need to understand the fundamentals of computer science, because that will not change. So that as you go from, for example, cloud A to cloud B, all you have to do is, you know, that you just learn the hands-on part, and the hands-on part of it, actually, you can learn yourself, right? Because you have a strong fundamental, all right? You can learn because of the huge amounts, whether it's Microsoft, Amazon, Google. You just go to the web. There's so much contents in there, learning, and free pula tu, yeah, free pula tu, yeah. So you can learn yourself, and this is the kind of the thing which I wanted to tie into the previous question, is that from 2018 to 2022, World Economic Forum says that all of us requires another 101 days of learning. Okay, so we need to start. We need to actually self-learn and moving forward, that culture of love for learning has got to continue on so that we constantly are updated with the changes in how technology is being utilized. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Dr. Zahar. Any other input
Definitely both fundamentals. Having a strong fundamentals is very, very important, because that is when you launch yourself, to the next level. And then, of course, as Ziming pointed out, it is about more hands-on, experience to kind of polish up that skill. So yeah, both.
I want to take a different answer. Maybe both and maybe hands-on skill. For me, it depends on what is your career path. If you are students or maybe you are professional, what is your career path? Because both is definitely is the right answer. But let's say you wanted to be as a cloud sales, you don't want to touch any kind of technical. Fundamental is need to be at the 100%. If you want to be the technical, hands-on, maybe you need to consume the fundamental at least 50%, and then you hands-on. The moment you hands-on, the moment you learn more about the services and the solution. So both is the right answer, but it depends on what is you are going to be. If you really wanted to be very geek to develop something, hands-on is the must, 100%, maybe 200%, right? If you want to be out as maybe develop the sales, know how the cloud computing and all, fundamental is a must. So whatever it is, fundamental is need to be at the top. Without the fundamental, you cannot go the hands-on. you like buat benda yang kenapa aku buat benda ni kan? So if you knowledge, then you can go to the hands-on. Right?
Yeah, this is related to amal tanpa ilmu and ilmu tanpa amal. Yeah, and
a good one, Prof.
Yeah, and another one more important than hands-on or theory is mindset. Yeah, so student is, not only student, like us. So we need to have a very positive mindset, growth mindset, so that this we can explore patiently. We can also, as an academician, we also need to inspire our student to explore more. I think then they are very, encouraging them to explore and grow themselves, especially to become this cloud specialist or technology player in the future. All right, I think we'll go to the wrap-up session related to this forum. So as I think we go to Dr. Charlene first, and this is maybe personal related to your role as a CEO. What is your dream for Malaysia in the context of TM R&D role in the future on the cloud technology itself?
On cloud technology, perhaps more on applying cloud and leveraging the infrastructure for services, digital services, and I think that is really our forte. My vision for TM R&D is and I hope it's the vision of TM as well, is to leverage innovation and R&D, and I think that is every great company always has its roots in R&D and innovation. And that is the secret sauce that differentiates one company from the other. And I think that's the fundamental I would like to talk about. And, being in R&D, I strongly believe that we need to start creating, not on a very technology per se, but innovation. It's on applying it, it's on applications, it is on processes. All learnings to differentiate us, not just individual companies, but us as a nation from the rest. If I think it was Azhar or Ziming that spoke about Indonesia having so much and so many unicorns, and we need to start doing that for Malaysia to create a more competitive and a sustainable economy for us, right? And as I mentioned before, I believe that to do that, we need to start creating, and to start creating, we need to start investing in our, young minds to be curious and to start, looking at things differently. We should not just be using not just technology, using things. We should be creating things. And I think that's really my vision and my goal, to leverage TMR&D for that aspiration for Malaysia, digital Malaysia.
Thank you, Dr. Shalin. Wow, that's very inspiring, and we hope that the dream come true. And the same question goes to Mr. Tan Zimeng, related to your roles in MDEC, as well as what do you want to see in the future. And this is kind of like a wrap-up word from yourself for this forum today.
Okay, I think this is an easy one for me. Basically, I joined MDEC to do this, is to build up Malaysia into the digital hub in ASEAN. And basically, digital hub needs all the pieces in the ecosystem to be in place. I think that's what I've been working in MDEC to do in the last 15 years I've been MDEC. And I hope when I will see this happen before I retire. So we want to put Malaysia on the map as the center of digital innovation in ASEAN. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tan. So this is very insightful and very important, especially to the country. And also, same things from Dr. Zaha related to what is your dream and how you can see this cloud computing technology as a wrap up for this forum session.
Thank you. The simplest way for you to understand my role at Microsoft as a national technology officer is kind of a technology ambassador for Microsoft into the country, and I like to see how we can, champion the country to Microsoft as well as help the country to motivate. So, from my perspective, I like to see that we are able to help Malaysia accelerate the digital transformation urgently, because our neighbors are actually accelerating, right? They are moving very fast, right? So we need to accelerate our digital transformation so that we can stay relevant and succeed in this new world. And this requires two things. For the leaders out there, right? People like me and Ziming, for example, right? The old guys, right? We really need to change our mindset, right? To enable digital transformation, not try to control things because we've done it for the last 100 years, right? We need to realize that there is transformation is required, enable the younger generation to really flourish in this new world. They're ready, right? But for the younger generation, we need to make sure that, you all need to make sure that you also need to change your mindset, because, when you get your degree, unfortunately, in Malaysia, we call it graduation, kan? Habis. But in US, it's called what? Commencement. So you have to constantly learn, right? To stay relevant in this new world. So the younger generation, jangan ikut zaman dulu, kena mengajar baru kita belajar. No, you have to have this self-motivation to learn and constantly learn to adapt, right? So that you'll be successful in this new world. And finally, COVID-19 has been kind of, yes, it's caused a lot of bad things, but I think it also caused something good, right? It forces us to leverage on digital technologies to recover, right? Everyone uses Zoom or uses Teams or uses now, right? Dulu, you don't think about having a virtual event like this. Right now, actually, virtual is better. I can actually, as you see, I attended an MIT program just easily, right? Dulu kena pergi MIT tau nak buat that program, yeah? Right?
Exactly.
So we leverage on the recovery when we are leveraging digital tech platforms, digital technology, cloud, and so on. But I think as we come out from this pandemic, I noticed that some of us want to go back to the old ways stuff.
Yeah, yes.
Resist
that too.
Right? We need to reimagine the way we do things, not to go back to the old ways. Kan? Dia dah naik kereta ni, kita nak naik kereta baru pun boleh. No, tak boleh. Kita mesti naik, flying car pula, right? So we have to reimagine. So after recovery, you have to reimagine. Don't go back to the old way of doing things. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Zaha. I think untuk naik kereta lembu tu untuk jadi pelancong, okay. Untuk moving forward.
Pelancong naik beca.
All right. Thank you very much for your very inspiring, future-driven, mindset to the audience. And yeah, I think today we will launch RunCloud University, and together with MOU within UTM and RunCloud. So Arif, what is your hope, and what is your dream as well? And last advice maybe to the world.
All right. Thank you. Quite a big thing when we talk about dream. So you can have a dream. You don't need to pay 100 or 1,000 to have a dream. Anyone can have the dream, right? But to realize the dream, you need to have the mindset. So what the dream that when we were started RunCloud, the business. Having said that, I after I graduated in UTM, I don't have any kind of what we call it working experience. I just directly jumped to startup world. For about almost 1 year, my salary was 800 ringgit per month. So when my friends already get a job, even TM, good senior developers, and the salary like 3 to 4,000. The thing in mindset, and my dream in RunCloud as a business, I'm trying to develop that the local talent can develop the product that can serve the global audience, right? And at the same time, when we talk about the RunCloud University, the one that we are going to launch today, which is my mission is at least I want to enable 1,000, at least 1,000 final year projects, all the portfolios on cloud. There's no local host. Students, there's more than 10,000 computer science students graduated every year in Malaysia. All right. So at least over 10,000 students, they are able to understand what is cloud computing is. This is the mission. All right. My vision is at least the new talent. When even we are right now we are recruiting new talents in Malaysia. I want to let's say in RunCloud, I want to make sure that RunCloud have a very good and global brand that impact towards the students and the new talent, which is I want to make like the moment they get a job in RunCloud and they become ex RunCloud, they proud that the same as I'm ex Google. You get what I mean? I'm ex RunCloud because they have the knowledge of cloud computing. So the thing is, I think the vision toward this session and the RunCloud University and the RunCloud as a business to make sure that definitely our local is basically have a very good talent. We just need to not to find, but they need to realize that they are capable. By having said that, a lot of good programs via the universities, the schools, and even the industries are taking another step to open up the opportunities. All right. So that's all. I hope that it's not only UTM, but it's many other universities, and this is the stepping point for from us at RunCloud. If we are success in UTM by delivering good modules in RunCloud universities and lecturers and all, we can replicate and make this as a global standard, and we offer at the overseas universities. All right, that's all, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Arif, and also thank you so much to all panelists for your time and sharing session for today. 2 hours, almost 2 hours, and also we hope that all this will benefit a lot to everyone, especially our students, researcher, academician, and to all audience out there. Thank you for staying with us until the end of our forum session. And I hope that this session also will beneficial for you. And I hope that you can stay with us more for the MOU signing ceremony between UTM and RunCloud. After this, is a different link in the Facebook for Faculty of Engineering UTM as well. And last but not least, thank you so much again to everyone, and we hope that the things that we discussed today will also give lot of things in the future will disrupt, at least will give some motivation to our audience and way to go forwards. With that, I think hopefully that we can meet again somewhere in virtually or physically later. Thank you very much, Dr. Charlene Tiagaraja from TM R&D, CEO of TM R&D, Mr. Tan Zimeng from Malaysian Digital Economy Corporation, Dr. Zaharuddin Mansor from Microsoft Malaysia, and also Mr. Arif Tukiman, RunCloud CEO and co-founder. Until we meet again, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Hi, my name is Akmal Hazim. I live in Shah Alam. I'm 14 years old, and by next year I'll be having PT3. I started to learn coding when I first developed my own Minecraft server. At that time, I was trying to explore on how to build a very good Minecraft server, even develop my own plugins out of Java. And then I tried to Google on how to develop web applications. And from there, I think that my passion was into web development and also server infrastructure kind of consultations. I think I like PHP the most, and currently I'm into Node.js because I saw that Node.js feature is a very huge opportunity. Despite the fact that I like coding really much, my parents gave full support in terms of moral, motivation, and etc. At the same time, they also hope that I don't neglect my academics, also sports and etc. So I think we are doing good. They believe me in managing my time on coding and also academic. During when I was Form 1, I have coded and built Benchpoint.io, which is a tool that can speed test your server. It doesn't matter your server is in DigitalOcean, Linux, perhaps in your co-location, maybe in Malaysia, etc. You can speed test the servers right from a web interface just through one fingertips. So that was my first project. My second project is an IoT middleware called Project IoT. He actually came up with the idea of having a local IoT middleware actually compete with Blink IoT middleware, which is already international. So from there, we actually figure out a few features for our platform to exist compared to our international competitors. And we believe that we can actually go further with this project. Check it out. You guys can go to projectiot.com and actually have a quick look. As you guys know, I am a freelancer. I have dealt with a few clients. Some of their demands is having the projects up within a certain timeline, and for example, they gave it before just yesterday, they want it before this 6 a.m. But the main key right now is how to make sure that they are able to actually access the code that I created. I mean, to use the code, right? So with RunCloud, rather than having to actually create in the server and configure the Apache, Nginx, and etc., I can just use RunCloud in only like, I think less than 30 minutes. I can get everything set up. It's very easy. I also got some actually work on teaching FYP students how to deploy the project throughout RunCloud. It's very easy because with only a few commands, they can actually install RunCloud on the servers, and the rest they can just use a web interface that I believe most people are comfortable with compared to having a CLI or command line. So I think that's how RunCloud can help my problem in a daily routine. As a young RunCloud ambassador, I feel very excited is because I've actually experienced, you can't actually experience it from a normal point of view. It's like it's totally different. When you are being an ambassador, you can actually feel on how they create products, on how they deliver the product, how they meet the customers, etc. When I become a young RunCloud ambassador, it's something that is very fun, is because you actually get to expose to those people and get their feedbacks on what they think on what you're building. And also when I become a RunCloud ambassador, my motivation is that I want to always build products that help people, that can also solve daily problems around the world.